I have a tendency to, most of my life, I've been othered, been pushed away from people a lot, and that's left me with a sense of just being different. And I feel like that happens to a lot of people, that they feel different. They feel separated or unaccepted, or they feel really strongly a sense of being pushed away, and they start to believe that wouldn't be happening unless I am, especially when it happens a lot or from multiple people, like on a consistent or repetitive basis. If you grow up and say you're at one school and you're bullied all the time, and you finally switch schools and you have like this hope that maybe things will change now and be different, and then you get to that school and no, you are still being bullied, and you're like, well, what is it? I'm the common denominator here. So what is so wrong with me that no one will like care about me or accept me? And you start to be like, what is it about me that's so different? And because you question that and you don't know why you're so not acceptable, it just sort of starts to haunt you. That turns into a belief. And the belief is, these girls constantly ghost me because I'm different. There's something off. There's something they don't like, whatever. You just accept that you're different, and that's just that. It's extremely difficult to deal with, and it ruins relationships. Quite frankly, makes it difficult to connect with people. The way that I recently started thinking about it was actually because I have a lot of friends who are international, and I just make friends really easily with people from other countries better than the United States, like citizens around me. That has always been a thing that I've dealt with, and always been a thing that I've always gotten along better with the outcast, or with the immigrant, or with the person who, has a very different culture than the one that's United States based. And I've realized there's a couple of things going on there as I've gotten older and as it's consistently continued to happen in my life. One of them is I just value a different culture than is perpetuated in the United States. In the US, there's a lot of commodification, a lot of branding, a lot of individualism, a lot of instant gratification, a lot of consumerism, a lot of very, what feels to me, surface level or superficial interests, and a lot of self-seeking. There's a lot of love yourself, care about yourself, only yourself. You're the only one that matters. Screw anyone who doesn't, do everything your way, or want everything your way, or give you everything that you want. Don't settle for less than exactly what you care about. And there is something to be said for loving yourself. That is an important thing. I mean, the channel is called Self-Invested Life for a reason. Part of that reason is you should invest in yourself. You should take care of yourself. That's not a bad thing, but it's been taken to a kind of level that feels close to extremism to me in the United States. A lot of cultures that are more family central and more focused on being part of a unit, sticking together, working together, being a community with each other. You spend lots of time talking with each other, interacting with each other, depending on each other. You do things for each other. That kind of dynamic is more appealing to me. That strong sense of duty that comes from caring more about someone other than yourself really resonates with me. That doesn't mean I don't care about myself at all, but there is something really that I'm drawn to about that. But even besides that, there's another thing going on. And the other thing going on with me being so drawn to people from other countries is that I feel more similar to people who feel different than people who feel like they're a part of what's going on. And I don't know if I went to another country if I wouldn't have the same issue. there's a joke about you go on vacation to get away from your problems, but how much of a vacation is it if you take all your problems with you? I feel like if I moved to another country, one of the things that maybe would be a problem for me is that I always feel different. And I might try to get over that hump when I first got to the country, but in reality, I'd be an immigrant and I might be treated a little like I'm different. And then there I am again, being the other. I feel like there's an invisible sign on my forehead a lot of the time that just says other. What I realized recently, because I do have so many friends who are international, they feel that otherness from Americans a lot of times, and it makes it hard to connect with them. I have a friend who's from El Salvador, and she was saying how it's frustrating for her that all Hispanic cultures get dropped into the box of Mexican, and that she got told a lot as a teenager, oh, you speak English so well for a Mexican. And A, she's not Mexican, she's just Hispanic. And B, she is in, like, you know, the United States. So why would she have trouble? Like, she's studying in STEM and gets frustrated because people in STEM are like expecting, oh, you're Hispanic, aren't you going to go for a low-paying job? You know, they imagine a Hispanic worker working maybe on a farm, or maybe working as a maid, cleaning services, maybe being a delivery person. They don't imagine their idea of a Mexican that they first jump to. The very first assumption of Mexican in their mind is not astrophysicist. And so that's very frustrating because A, again, she's not Mexican, but that's the one single narrative that Americans are stuck with. Hispanics must be Mexican. And B, she's actually really smart. But there's an automatic assumption, there's this story that a lot of Americans tell themselves. Like, I have friends, more than one friend from Africa, and the story that Americans have about Africa is, oh, everyone lives in a hut, and everyone is like starving and living off of one cup of grain for the whole day. And there are some people who live that way, but there's also like cities with internet and people running businesses and, you know, entrepreneurs and all the same things. There's people who have this image of a group of people and they just put everyone in that category who they feel like is like that group of people. I don't do that, so I get along with a lot of international people really well because I'm always like curious and I'm always excited. I like learning. I like exploring other cultures, and I like learning about other people's perspectives. I like feeling connected with them and hearing their stories because I lack that so much amongst other Americans. And I realized that the othering of an immigrant is very similar. The immigrant feels that closed offness. They feel those assumptions being put on them. And when I feel different, when I feel like I'm meeting someone and they're a little standoffish or they're just not treating me the way I would treat them, when I've known someone for a really long time and they just bail on me. Sometimes, I mean, pretty recently, someone bailed on me mid-conversation. They literally just disappeared. Mid-conversation. Just no word, no nothing. And it's someone that I care about. It's not someone I'm never going to speak to again or anything like that. But they feel comfortable doing that because I'm the other. But instead of them automatically being the one putting me in that box, I'm the one automatically putting me in that box. Instead of them meeting me and maybe I look different than them, and so they shove me into a category. As much as, yes, that does happen, there's some people who meet me and are decently warm or, you know, cordial, and then I put me in that box. I assume, oh, they're going to figure it out, that I'm a weirdo or that I'm different. They're going to step away at some point. I just expect it. And that automatic expectation causes there to be a barrier to connection. It makes it more difficult for us to end up on the same page because one person is being othered. And it's not always them doing it. Sometimes it's me doing it. And I have to try to be conscientious of it. And it's very difficult. It is so difficult in a moment when you're talking to someone to remember, oh yeah, it's not automatically true that you're just different. That is super hard to be conscious of. It's not automatically true that you're about to be like ashamed, that you're about to feel embarrassed, that you're about to feel like ostracized. It's so hard to remember that, to think that way, because it's a belief, because it's ingrained so deeply down. And when someone does treat you like you're different or that you're other, you don't even feel surprised. Like it's not even something you get really upset about, because it's not like that wasn't going to happen anyway. You knew that was going to happen. So it just reinforces the belief. And it's extremely difficult, especially in a lifetime of most people treating me like I'm different, to not treat myself like I'm different. If anyone else is struggling with that, I don't know a cure. I'm going to be honest, I haven't found one. But I will say, if you can even later think, was I automatically jumping to a conclusion? Was I automatically sticking myself in a category? Was I offering up only a single narrative about myself? Was I othering myself? Because as much as it's hard to think about it in the moment, maybe later when you're reflecting back on how crappy you feel that conversation went or that introduction went, was any of it me and my beliefs helping add to how hard it was for us to connect? Just ask yourself, be honest with yourself. Just like it's not great when people automatically assume or put a whole group of peoples all into the same box when they have a huge diversity of cultures. It's not okay to put yourself, when you're a multifaceted person, when you have so many different types of talents and ideas and capabilities and skills, into one single narrative. You are more than one single narrative.